Hello everyone, this is Ravi Kiran, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Marri Laxman Reddy Institute of Technology and Management. Today I am going to explain you about Toasted English written by R.K. Narayan. R.K. Narayan is one of the first generation Indian English writers, and he was famous for his novels and short stories. He is the one who has Indianized English language. He has introduced many words in English literature, and he won Sahitya Akademi Award for his famous novel, The Guide, which was adapted into a movie. And he was nominated for Rajya Sabha also. And he was awarded with the Padma Bhushan, the second highest civilian award given by Indian government. Now, coming to Toasted English. Toasted English, it's not a novel, it is an essay written by R.K. Narayan. It is a humorous essay on how the same language differs from one country to another country. So, it is a humorous essay. Humorous essay means something which tells about an information or any lesson in a humorous way, or we can say in a jovial manner. And the theme, actually, if you take the theme of the Toasted English, it is an analysis on how American English differs from British English. Okay. Next, actually the word Toasted English, it refers to English muffins. If Americans, they go to restaurants and they want to have English muffins, they asked for Toasted English. Here, Toasted English refers to the muffins. Though these muffins are made in America, still they have named it as English. In the same manner, Americans about their language also. The word English was retained by the Americans. Actually, Americans, when they fought for their freedom, America has become independent from the British rule. Americans, they sent away the Britishers and they discarded many things related to the British. Though they have disregarded many things related to the British, they threw away many things related to the British, but still they kept something. They retained something, that is English language. They have retained English language, just as English muffins, English has retained in English muffins, Toasted English. In the same way, here also they have retained the English language. But the thing is here, though they have discarded many things related to the British, they retained English language, but they have modified it. They are not using as the British English, but they have modified. They have changed according to their convenience. That is called as toasting. Toasting means modifying something according to the convenience. So they have toasted, they have modified English language. So here R.K. Narayan explains about how they have toasted the English. In what way they have toasted the English. First thing is that they have abandoned formalism. They have abandoned formalism. So Britishers, they are very formal in their language. When they communicate, they are very formal. But here what happened, Americans, they abandoned this formalism. Not only that, they have freed their language. As they have freed themselves from the British rule, in the same way they have freed the language also from the Britishers. So how they have freed them? They have freed the language from passive voice. Usually Britishers, mostly they don't tell directly, but instead they use passive voice. Okay, so they have freed their language. American, they have freed their language from passive voice. Not only that, for example, if you take in signboards in Britain, we can see trespassing is prohibited. Here, it leads sometimes it leads to confusions. But Americans, their signboards will be newly planted, don't walk, absolutely no parking. That is how they mention. That means Americans, they are freed from their language, from passive voice, and they started explaining that, they started telling that, they started conveying in directly. Directly, they convey the messages. So it will be very clear. British language, what happens? It's not so clear and in passive mode. But here, Americans, they express directly, they tell directly, and it is very clear. That is how they modified their language from the Britishers. Another example is that do not enter. Here, do not enter. The signboard, we can say, do not enter. So here it shows directly, it tells directly. Do not enter means it directly indicates something. There is a clarity in that. Again, in signboards, go, wait. So if we have to go, if we have to enter inside, immediately the signboard in America will be go. Very simple and clear. And or if you want to wait, we have to wait. So signboard will be very clear. And one more example is that Arkanarayan, he has observed something there, he has seen something in America. That is what here he tells about Mark Stevens, keep out. Actually, Mark Stevens is a celebrity, and being a celebrity, he don't want to get disturbed. He'll be inside his chamber and he don't want to get disturbed. And the board will be like this, Mark Stevens, keep out. It shows, it is very clear that Mark Stevens is inside, he don't want to get disturbed, so don't enter inside. It is very clear. But here, Arkanarayan uses the humor here. See, if Mark Stevens doesn't want to get disturbed, why he has to mention the board outside? He wonders. Why he has to mention Mark Stevens and keep outside? If you don't mention, nobody will disturb. Okay, that is how he tells in a humorous way. And next, how these Americans have achieved this toasting. So how the English has been toasted, he gives many examples, several examples in this essay. Americans, what they did, they started using words. They started using universal words and for multiple purposes. That means they use a single word for several meanings. So for a single word for multi-purpose, that means it gives several meanings. Example, the word check. If we take the word check, they use it for different contexts in different situations. For example, I will check. I will check means I will interrogate. I will look into the matter. Next, check room. Check room means a place where we keep our belongings there. See, for example, if we want to go outstation and we go to bus stand or if railway station or airport, we keep our belongings there for some time. So that is called as check room. Again, check girl. Check girl is a person who takes guard of our belongings. Check girl. And check in and check out. Check in means when we go to a hotel, we take rooms, we enter inside. It is called check in. And while leaving, it is called as check out. So they use the words, single word in a different context. And Arkanarayan says that it is an American universal word, check. In the same way, another example he gives is fabulous. Fabulous, it means great, being great, looking. But fabulous is used in different contexts. If somebody says, my cats are fabulous, it doesn't mean they are doing well. They are active. And the same can be used for a person. He is fabulous. He is doing great. So different contexts, they can be used. And next word is okay. Okay is used in many contexts, in many ways also. So if I want to I want to ask you whether you have understood or not, okay? Is it okay? That means it shows that have you understood that? Is it okay if somebody is not well? Are you okay? So okay can be used in different. Americans started using like this. So they started toasting the words in this manner. Still, Arkanarayan goes on explaining that how the native speakers of English used the English language and how they refine the using of English. So he analyzes all these things in this essay. Here, for the people who have English as a bazaar status means it is spoken everywhere. For example, in India, English is an official language we use in classrooms, we use in administration, like that. But English is not being used everywhere. So if English is being used everywhere, even in marketplaces outside and institutions everywhere, then it is called as bazaar status. So in the places where English has bazaar status, they use how they use the language. He explains all these things here. For example, the word thank you. Thank you can be used in different purposes. For example, if someone shares something, offers something, if you don't like, if you don't want to take, we say thank you. Thank you, it means that, okay, thank you refers to it is not necessary. So in the same way, if we go to any place, any office, and the receptionist asks, can I help you? Can I help you means here it denotes that it is not that she wants to help, but she means that on what work you have come here, what work you have here, and what you want to expect, what you are expecting here. So that is how they use the language. And the same manner, would you like to wait? Again, this sentence we can see. Here, when a person goes to meet an official, gives an ID card or visiting card to say that he is waiting outside and he wants to meet you. And immediately the secretary comes out and asks, would you like to wait? The person is busy, would you like to wait? In the sense that here he is not asking him to sit, but he is telling him that he is busy, he cannot see you at the time, so you can leave. Instead of telling you can leave, he says, would you like to wait? And immediately what we have to say, we cannot say that no, I'll leave or something else, but we can say thank you. Again using the word thank you. Thank you means okay, I will leave, I'll meet him the next time. So this is how the people whose mother tongue is English, in which countries English has a bazaar status, they use the word. So Arkanarayan explains all these things in the essay. Not only that, he advocates for adopting English in India also. That means in India, English is confined to the rooms. That means in the sense classrooms, administration rooms, offices, like that. But he advocates that English should become a bazaar status in India also. He advocates that we have to use English. We start to use English everywhere. We have to learn English. But not only he is advocating to use English language, but he envisions the Bharat brand of English. Bharat brand of English, that means we have to create our own brand. We have to create our own brand in English, just as Americans, they have created their English. Actually, English refers to England, and the people of England are called as English, and their mother tongue is English. But in America, it is even Americans also, it is English. They have retained English, but what they did, they have toasted. In the same manner, we have to create, just as Americans created a brand for their language, in the same way, he envisions that even in India also, we have to create a brand, our own brand. Instead of using Britain English, we have to create our own brand of English, that is called as Bharat brand of English. And he suggested everyone not to mongrelize the language. Many times people try to speak English in India, and they speak as if they are talking in their mother tongue. But he is suggesting that not to mongrelize the language. Instead, we have to respect the rules. We have to respect the grammar rules. We have to respect the language. We have to maintain the dignity of language. That means maintaining the dignity of the language, respecting the rules of grammar, we have to use. But we have to create our own brand. That means Swadeshi stamp. He calls it as Swadeshi stamp. For example, a product which is made in India, example, he gives example of Madras handloom check shirts. It is made in India, and on the shirts it is written as made in India. That means Swadeshi stamp. Again, like a Tirupati doll, that means made. That means when we see the product, immediately we can identify it is made in India. In the same way, we have to create a brand, our own English. That means it is Indian English. He is the best example. Arkanarayan is the best example in this. He has introduced many Indian words in English language, and he has Indianized English language. So he suggests everyone that we have to use English, but we have to create our own brand. We have to Indianize the English language, just as Americans. Arkanarayan explains how Americans have toasted the English language. Again, once again, we revise that essay written by Arkanarayan. We have what we have learnt here. We have learnt that about toasted English. What is toasted English? Toasted English is nothing but the English muffins. It refers to English muffins. And though it is English muffin is made in America, but still they named it as toasted English. That means they retained English. In the same way, they made use of their language, that is English also. Though they have removed all the belongings related to the British, but they have retained the language, that is English. And they have Americans, what they did? They have modified the English language. And how they modified, how they toasted? By abandoning formalism. They have abandoned formalism, and next they have freed their language from passive voice. And not only that, what they did, they started using universal language, universal words. They started using universal words like check, fabulous, okay, and the refinements of using the English language. How? Thank you, can I help you, would you like to wait, all these things. So this is how Arkanarayan explains and tells us the difference between American English and British English. Not only showing the differences, he tells how the Britishers, how the Americans uses their language. Americans use their language, and how we have to use the language. How we have to use the language? We have to create our own brand of English, and we have to use that. That means we have to Indianize the English language. So this is about the essay Toasted English written by Arkanarayan. Hope you understand. Thank you very much.